want to start us off?
The self-scouting you guys did during the bye week, did you guys find what you expected to find? Were there any, I know you probably won't get specifics, but were there things that you guys came away from that feeling differently about what you guys can do in the second half?
I don't know about differently. It's just, there's just so much information you take out of it for, what teams are doing to you, what you're doing to teams. It's just, you just try to consolidate all the information, to small things of you study yourselves, of, you giving away anything from alignments, from stances. Usually you're doing that against the opponent. So it's just, from A to Z is basically what that week is. And you try to make sure that you segment enough time out there to study it all, and so you delegate some stuff that, guys all have projects, and when they turn the projects in, you kind of talk it through, and you just try to put everything together so you can make sure you iron out all the details that were the first 7 games, and then you basically tie a bow on it and move forward.
Brendan?
Following up on that, like at the midway point or just past it, and with the bye week at this point in the season, does this provide an opportunity to kind of further look at personnel, with maybe moving guys around the depth chart or anything, or is that more or less kind of where you guys are at this point?
Yeah, I think you're constantly making sure that you're giving guys opportunities. I think that's part of it. But you also get guys setting roles, and so there's a balance there. But at the end of the day, as long as your players know that you're giving guys opportunities, the ones that deserve it out there on the practice field, and you keep that alive, I think we've seen good things happen during this season where guys, especially up front, have getting opportunities, whether that's because they played well, whether it's because due to injuries, but you take all that into consideration. But I think the bye week gave us the ability to get some guys some reps that probably needed to get some reps, some of the younger guys, but also get some guys back. So that was all part of what the bye week was.
What's up?
Georgia Tech's been, Thursday they scored 9 points in the loss. Had their starting quarterback injured. So what have you seen on film from them, and what are you guys game planning for?
Yeah, I mean, anytime, their starting quarterback, number 10, has been a good player for them, and he's created a lot of offense for them throughout the year, and he's gone down in back-to-back games, and so whether he plays or not, I'm not quite sure. But like always, you usually try to plan for the starter and the backup. It'll be no different, and it's just part of the evaluation when you're getting ready for teams that have injuries, especially at quarterback. It's all part of the evaluation of how you get ready.
Ira?
Statistically, you guys are pretty much, I think, on the same pace as you were last year in terms of sacks. I think a lot of people would have been surprised by that after the guys you lost up front. Have you had to do it a different way, and how have you guys been able to stay on that track?
Yeah, I mean, we had to do it a different way, slightly. I think our pressure numbers are up from where they were last year. We've had more sacks from pressure than we have, but we've also, the guys that have been out there, and I think we've gotten some production from individuals as well, and that's the normal progression. I mean, we want to be a team that can generate pressure with a 4-down rush. I think all good teams can do that. I think we have done that, and that'll be a continuation here through the rest of the season, that we constantly develop that, whether that's just by aligning in 4-down, whether that's giving different looks and putting linebackers on line of scrimmage and creating rush plans for them, giving the illusion that they're coming, so I think creating pressure is really important. What we want to make sure we're doing a better job is on first and second down, getting a few more of those lost plays, with some TFLs. That's not necessarily sacks, but just a little bit more disruptive on the first and second down run games.
You guys aren't the first team that they've done this to, but Clemson does a good job of swing passes, and they kind of get backs in space. Is that something that is difficult because of their offense, or is that something that you guys have to figure out a way to shore up so that other teams don't do it?
Yeah, I think it was difficult because it was a really good player catching the ball. Right. I think that has a lot to do with it. And when you're trying to gain yards, whether it's in the run game or the screen game, you got to create space. When you run perimeter plays, you create space just by the design of it, but you need to sustain blocks longer because of the length of the play trying to get out there. So, just like you're coaching your defensive ends to to be able to set edges and get off blocks on the inside runs, you got to do that with your corners and nickels, and sometimes your backers on perimeter runs. So, I think that's all, part of, when a team's trying to utilize the space of the field and get the ball to a player in those spaces, you need other ways to try to combat it. So, yeah, that's all part of, trying to take those plays away.
We'll go Ira and Cosmo.
With Fabian, I know he's been helpful even when he has been on the field as a leader, but if he does get back on the field, when he does get back on the field, what does that do for everybody around him?
Well, I mean, he gives you, just a really tough matchup inside. It's hard to block him with one guy just because he's so strong, and he's strong, but he's, been in the system now for 3 years, and he plays with the technique necessary to be productive, So he's a team first player that's unselfish. He battles, he fights, and he uses good technique. So, we even saw early in the year he was a problem in the pass game too, just because of his ability to push the pocket. So his opportunity when he's been down has helped guys like Josh Farmer and Malcolm and other guys kind of come along. But at one point when he gets back, it'd be good to have him back.
Aslan?
When it comes to accountability in the meeting room, I don't want you to tell us what you're saying to the player, but can you kind of maybe characterize how it goes when you do show players that they're in position to make plays, but they're not able to, and then how they react to that, and then whether that's a kind of give and take, and you'll tell them, hey, maybe I could have put you in a better position here, but at this point you did, and you weren't able to make this. How's that going right now with you guys?
Yeah, I think it's going. I mean, I think as a leader, you try to make sure when there is success that you make sure that you share the success with the others that have helped you get there. And when you don't have success or there's a breakdown, you accept the responsibility, and you don't play the blame game. I think that's what all good teams do. I think that's all been part of our development as a program. When one side of the ball plays really good and the other side doesn't, it's not, I can't believe they didn't, it's we could have done more, and vice versa. Same thing in the kicking game. And I think that comes down even in a smaller sample size of individual players. So I think that's all been part of how we've built the program to develop, to, share responsibility when you have success, that it wasn't all you, to be humble with that. And then when things haven't gone well, to make sure you accept the criticism, you accept the blame, and that goes for coaches as well. There's definitely been times where it's, hey, listen, that was something I could have done a better job for you. And you want to share that with them. Just number one, it's the right thing to do, but also that's how leaders act. And it's the correct way to be able to build it and move forward.
We'll go to Brendan for the last one.
What about your cornerback group? Have you liked this year? What needs to be built on and worked on here in the final stretch, the good and the bad, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing a good amount of corners, which, some was due to injuries, some was due to guys playing well, some are due to, just getting some of the young guys the right amount of reps because what's coming. And so, it's all been that. But I think they've done a good job as far as, accepting the responsibility or the role when they're in there. And, we've seen some, really good play from some of those guys. I think Jerry and Jones is much improved. I think Bernardo has done a really good job. Listen, that position's always going to be on an island. It's just part of playing corner. And, you want them to make 100% of the plays, whether it's in the run and throw game. But I think we've done a good job at that spot. I think I'm excited about coming off of this bye week, what we'll see moving forward. But our guys accept responsibility for how we play out there, which is a lot of match coverage. And, I like that group. I do think there's been some growth there. Looking forward to see continued, as we move forward here this year, with the push of Azaria and getting Duke back and having him play better. And I think it's all part of that group.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See y'all.